Farming supposedly is the number one industry for suicide. Why is that? Is it because commodity prices are low? Is it because inputs are high? Or is it because we have so much debt to take over and so many people to buy out on that estate transfer that we can't do it with current commodity prices? And so therefore it lands on the current generation's shoulders that it's lost because of them, when in fact the current generation, it may not be their problem. Hello, 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 and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's talk about what is it costing you to save the farm? And I have a couple scenarios today that I want to talk about because, they make me a little bit mad. And so we're going to kind of talk about estate planning, which always gets the German passion flowing, right? I have a couple of clients, ironically, two of them in 1 week have called and I have talked to them about just the value of them on the farm and what is it costing us to save the prior generation. And so both of these, there is a little bit different scenario for both of these, but the same piece of the scenario is that the current generation that owns it, both of them happen to be boomers. Not that it matters. It does not matter if it's a boomer or a Gen Xer. I have seen it with both. But in both of these cases, we have a boomer with a millennial child. And I am seeing this over and over and over again. The generation coming in is trying to save the generation leaving, regardless if it's a boomer or a Gen Xer. We are trying to save the person leaving because they have not managed the money well. The farm is not in a good financial situation. So the generation coming in is working for free and they are saying, hey, I will do whatever it takes to make sure that this place is still standing so I can buy it, so I can take over dad's debt. So what's happening is the young generation they're giving up off the farm income. They're giving up any income at all in hopes that they get it, but there's no estate plan. And so we don't know if they're going to get it. We don't know if the rest of the family is going to be in a situation where they're going to require a buyout. Are they going to require a full buyout? We're working for free to build it up and to maintain it and to make it look wonderful so it's actually worth more. But we have no idea if we're going to have to buy out siblings. We have no idea if sweat equity is even going to be considered. This is a piece that drives me crazy. And so I have done some thinking about this, just talking to people. And can we start paying the younger generation an hourly wage? And so they have money to go do whatever they want with. This doesn't come back into the farm. It is their money as if they worked off the farm. But it is an hourly wage that is in exchange for sweat equity. Because what's happening is when we make that transfer to the next generation, the sweat equity gets lost in there. The value of the place went up. And so now we're paying more. And so can we, to alleviate family drama, can we start to pay the younger generation an hourly wage so that their sweat equity is getting paid for at the time that they're doing it? And the older generation cannot be cheap about it because it is not 1950 anymore, my friends. It is not 1960. It is not 1970. It is not about being cheap. It is about making sure that they are getting a fair wage. And then I know what's coming. Well, Mary Jo, the farm can't afford it. Well, if the farm can't afford it, then the farm is not financially stable in doing what it needs to do to make income, is it? Because if that younger generation left and took an off the farm job, they would have the income that they need when that farm sells to be able to buy it back. Because they probably could go get a really good job off the farm. They could make a bunch of money. The situation that I had this week, everybody works off the farm. We have an LLC that's an absolute disaster with uncles and cousins and siblings. Everybody works off the farm except the one person keeping the farm afloat, and he's not getting paid. Guess who's going to take over? Him. Guess who's not going to have the money to buy it out? Him. Guess who's not going to decide that there's sweat equity? All the relatives. I said, how are you going to buy this place? You're bailing dad out, and grandpa, in this situation, grandpa made some horrible decisions. Dad bailed out grandpa. He's still in financial distress because of grandpa. Now, you're going to bail out dad to keep everything afloat because dad physically can't keep up anymore. So you're going to do all the work for free in the hopes that you're going to get it. But we already have vultures sitting on the fence, waiting to take over. And those vultures go to their job every day and they go get a big, healthy paycheck. And they come back and guess what? They're probably going to have enough money for at least a down payment. Do you think they're going to say, oh, there was some sweat equity there? No, absolutely they're not going to say that. And so we have to be smart. If we are the younger generation, we need to be asking for an hourly rate. I have another one this week. Dad has not been doing his due diligence financially, right? Place is in distress, owes all this money to the bank. He's up there in age. He's a boomer. And he is just not wanting to give up control of how the place is managed. But he can't make his payments. Barely making his payments. Has 3 years of operating notes to pay. And so the kid wants to come in, buy all the cows and save him. But guess what? Cattle prices are not in a fantastic position right now. You should not be buying cattle right now. So what's going to happen is a kid is going to come in to save him because he wants to make sure it's there for him. And he is going to cause his own financial distress because he's going to buy high. And then the calves aren't going to be worth the money. And then how is he going to make the payment? In both of these situations, people need to really get into the business mindset of the farm. We need to make a shift from being a farmer and a rancher to being a business owner. And we need to really look at our numbers. And we need to figure, if we're going to buy cows at $2,500 a head, we better figure what the worst cattle price is that we've seen. Are we going to be able to make that payment? Because we can't save the farm with the same amount of debt. We're all going into debt. And we can't pay the one of them told me, well, Mary Jo, if I'm not here, it falls apart. Nothing gets done. Then leave. So they see your value because they're telling you that they're not going to pay you. So clearly they don't see any value. But everybody else is okay to go work off the farm and not help and not do anything. That's totally okay because they're going to get a portion of it. One of the people that I was talking to this week, by the time we were done, he was crying in our meeting. Not because I was yelling at him and being mean to him, but because we had a very honest conversation about his worth as a human being and that he is very worthy to collect a paycheck and that nobody in that family cares about if he's going to get it or not. They're all going and collecting their own paychecks while he's at home making sure that their asset is increasing in value. And he doesn't want to walk away from it because it means that much. And I get that, 100% understand that. It is hard to walk away from the history of what was built. He doesn't want to lose it. He wants it so badly, but he's working for free, not building anything while somebody else is going to get it. He's just working to increase their assets. So when they sell it, he'll never get the money to buy it because he doesn't have any credit. He doesn't have any money. But he doesn't want to work off the farm because then nothing's going to get done at home. And they can't pay him because there's no money to be made. Because dad is paying back for grandpa's mistakes. And dad's paying all of grandpa's mistakes, even though there's other members of the family that own part of that corporation. Dad is the nice guy. The son is the nice guy. And, well, who is going to finish last? The nice guy. No, I only know one side of the story. And there's obviously more to the story because it was an hour and a half meeting and this is a 15-minute podcast. So there's more to the story in both of these scenarios. But the common denominator is that we have no estate plan. That the boomers don't have the kahunas to say, oh, I need to create an estate plan. Oh, I need to actually talk to the rest of the family and say, no, this is how it's going to go because I own 51% of that corporation. My one client said to me, Mary Jo, do you see this a lot? And sadly, I do. I do see it a lot. That the current generation is having to save what the generation passing it off, boomer or X, whatever, the current generation is having to save them from the absolute mess that they created and they can't admit that they created. And so then again, I'm sitting on the sidelines, on the financial sidelines, watching what's happening and thinking, geez, farming supposedly is the number one industry for suicide. Why is that? Is it because commodity prices are low? Is it because inputs are high? Or is it because we have so much debt to take over and so many people to buy out on that estate transfer that we can't do it with current commodity prices? And so therefore, it lands on the current generation's shoulders that it's lost because of them, when in fact, the current generation, it may not be their problem. It might be an estate planning problem. Should they be given it? I'm not saying that. Should you plan? Should you have some life insurance? Should you maybe have a conversation so they know what a buyout is going to look like? They know what they're going to have to pay. They know what the estate plan is. Do we have to do it like we've always done it? When I hear of a farmer committing suicide, it's typically over money. If the guy's wife divorced him and he's committing suicide, it's because he has to lose half the farm. And he doesn't have the money to do that. Right? It hurt us. It hurt our ego. If we inherit it and we can't make it go because we can't make the payments to our siblings, it's about money. That also landed in our shoulders and hurt our ego, hurt our self-worth. Ego is probably a bad word to choose there. Hurt our self-worth, but it's not our fault. So is the driving factor to the suicide the cost of inputs? Or is the driving factor money? And if we can figure out how to run it like a business, if we can take it over and we can do it smart, if dad is in debt and he wants you to buy him out and he thinks you should pay top dollar for the cattle, then he should go sell all the cattle at the sale barn. And then you can buy them back when they're cheaper. That was one of my strategies. And he said, but Mary Jo, how am I supposed to make a land payment if there's no cattle? There's this thing called rent, yearlings, sell by marketing. I mean, there's a million ways to make money to make a land payment. You don't have to just have pairs running on ground to make a pasture payment. Figure it out. If you guys needed money, like I've said in other podcasts, if you need some, you'll figure out how to pay for it. Figure it out. Maybe you sell everything and go work off the farm to make the land payment. Is that better than working on the farm and going upside down for 10 or 15 years and losing it? These are the things that are going to make people emotional, because when they think they're going to lose it, when they think it's not going to be there, that pain is extremely, extremely deep. It is all they know. It's all they've ever wanted. And we make it so difficult, far more difficult than it needs to be, because we don't want to plan. And I was talking to my friend Heidi about this yesterday, and she is an estate planner. She's not an attorney, but she helps with estate plans. She's a trust officer. You guys have heard her on my podcast before. If you haven't heard my episode with Heidi Olson, you need to go back and find that episode. She sees the same things over and over and over. As somebody that manages trusts and estates, she has seen it over and over and over again. Her and I are seeing the same things. If I talk to Jolene Brown, her and I are seeing the same things. It has to change. And so if you are the younger generation listening to this, then please know your worth. If you are the older generation listening to this, why aren't you talking? Please consider giving them some pay for their sweat equity, or make sure that gets put into your estate plan. It is not fair or equal, in my opinion. It is deserving. Just because I was born there does not mean I deserve anything. If I have never come back to help, if I do not help with my parents, what do I deserve? I don't deserve fair or equal. I deserve whatever effort I put in. And when we start looking at estate plans that way, oh boy, there would be a lot of kids left out, right? A lot of kids left out. Mom and dad, grandpa and grandma, it's time. Time to find your backbone and time to do some planning, because this younger generation, they want to farm. They want to work. They are not lazy. Don't even get me started. I know a lot of Gen Xers that are lazy and worthless. I know a lot of boomers that are lazy and worthless. Oh my gosh. But we all want to look at the current generation and go, oh, there's no hope for this country. I could say the same about your estate planning. There's no hope for the ag industry if we cannot do an estate plan and we cannot make sure that that next generation can financially pay for that and get by. If you can't do it today, what makes you think they're going to be able to do it with the land payment on top of that? The logic is just, in my opinion, the logic is not there. If I am missing something, please let me know. Feel free to email me and say, Mary Jo, you are an idiot. You forgot about this. Hey, wouldn't be the first time I ate crow. We're making it hard and we don't need to be. It's just sad. It's sad when I see 2 in a week. Hasn't happened in a long time. It's sad when I have to sit in a meeting and watch a potential client cry because he is just looking for help. And he wants to save it so badly that he will work for free in hopes that he will be able to buy some of it. But with what money? With what money? Hopes and dreams don't pay for anything. And why does a boomer and a Gen Xer think that their children should bail them out for their mismanagement? These are the same generations that are so high and mighty and think that they're bailing out all these losers in this country. Right? Why do we have to work and pay taxes for all these losers? Why does your child have to bail you out for your mismanagement of your farm business? I'm not making friends and influencing people here. But I am really tired of seeing people's dreams crushed, and they work so hard for them. Because we have generations that don't want to have conversations. All right, now that I've made a bunch of friends, you guys, let me know if you have comments. Let me know if you have concerns or questions. MaryJo at withoutthebank.com. Get your Farming Without the Bank book. I do not do estate planning. People want me to do estate planning because they hear me talk about this stuff. I bring the life insurance piece in to your estate plan so that you have something with a discounted dollar. That's the piece that I'm contributing. So if you want an estate plan, you need to talk to Heidi Olson, and then we can bring the life insurance piece in there. I talk about estate planning with every single one of my clients. That's information that you can take back to your estate planner, to your attorney, and have them put that in the estate plan. Because the majority of estate planners out there are absolutely negligent, and they do not have the right life insurance in there or any at all. It's mind-boggling to me. And most of them will say, well, nobody does the estate plan till they're old. Yeah, that doesn't mean there's not an option. It just means that you chose to do the same thing for that person as you did for the last 500 you did. My God, let's be creative, people. Okay. Ugh. Let me know if you need me. Go grab the book, farmingwithoutthebank.com. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.